As we come up the right-hand side of the U, we progress from crystallizing to prototyping. And when you just look at the visual, you already see kind of one key process aspect of prototyping, which is that we go through a series of mini-U's. So what it really means that the essence of prototyping is an iterative process that time and again is requiring us to move into the co-sensing, the deep sense making, then the co-creating, and then moving back into the co-sensing and listening and adapting. So it's create and adapt kind of in a rapid iterative cycle. But before I now, in a few moments, turn it over to my colleague Julie Arts, who will be taking you through a more in-depth journey through some of the prototyping key principles, I want to give you a brief overview, just kind of a big picture view of these principles, and then hand it over to Julie. So this is kind of a little laundry list, if you want. So when you move into prototyping, things you want to maybe pay attention to. So the first principle here is clarifying your intention, right? Really clarifying the intention, but also the questions that you are holding, right, as you move into your prototyping experience. Because the essence of prototyping, of course, is exploring the future by doing. It's an exploration. It's not just an implementation of an already thought through idea, fully thought through idea. Two, you want to, identify kind of the key partners and allies and, stakeholders or team members kind of that you engage with, right, as you move from idea to action. Three, places and platforms, kind of where is it that you want to focus your prototype. Four, 0.8 prototype. So what that really means is you create kind of your first prototype before you are really done, right? It's not a 1.0, but it's just a piece of the whole. It's something you can do very small, kind of very quickly, kind of without too much of resources. So really the trick about prototyping is to go small, right? To have a big idea, right? A significant intention that you're holding, but you translate that into a really small prototype in order to then generate feedback from your environment that allows you to modify and to evolve your idea. And then, of course, we have listening to the universe, right? The fifth principle, absolutely key. And listening to the universe means it's not just kind of listening to the feedback of your stakeholders and so forth, but really kind of listening to all kind of dimensions of your experience that you're having as potential signals, right, and messages in response to the question kind of you're putting out and in response kind of to the activities you have been performing. And then number six, and lastly, is really kind of the integration of head, heart, and hand. That's kind of at the core of the whole, at the heart really of the whole system, because many prototypes really are about shifting the way stakeholders operate and connect with each other. So if you want to shift the system outside of yourself, if you want to shift how stakeholders to connect with each other, the first thing you need to do is to embody that new relational quality within yourself. So that's really the sixth principle really is about the interior dimension. It's all about kind of being the change that we want to see in the world in order to then operate as a catalyst kind of for these kinds of shifts also in the microcosm in the world that we are focusing on with our prototype. With that, I turn it over to my colleague and friend Julie, who will now give you an in-depth exploration of these principles over the next few minutes.
Hi, my name is Julie Arts, and I'm based in Belgium and Italy. And it's very nice to be able to be here and talk to you about prototyping. It's an exciting moment in your journey. And prototyping is a point where you are about to start exploring the future by doing. That's the essence of prototyping. It's to find, create an experiment or an activity that allows you to start bringing it into reality, into life, into the world, by starting small. So take a small experiment, something that allows you to learn fast from the context where you want to bring change, so that you learn from the feedback that comes and go into the process of adapting, iterating. And with that process of iteration, learning from the feedback and then adapting, it starts a process of natural growth and natural expansion and natural scaling up as you go along. So some of you might be on a journey of that you are yourself in transition and that you are yourself evolving to your next phase. And so prototyping might be that you look at a vision that crystallized for you and you're looking for ways to start bringing that into your daily life and work with small things. And if it's totally clear how you want to do that, you can just go ahead and do it. If you are still searching what that could look like, we suggest to go to the arts. Maybe you can write a poem, maybe you can draw, maybe you can have other art forms that you feel comfortable with, to start seeing what could this look like? What is the richness? Who is there with me? What is happening? What are the places? And then at a certain point, just start with bringing it into the reality by doing small experiments. It could be by starting a garden on your balcony, if your dream, your long-term dream, is about farming. If you are on this journey with a more complex challenge, an organizational challenge or even systemic challenge, like in a sector or in a certain area, geographic area, it's good to look at your system that you're operating in and maybe taking the time to map it out. And then we often introduce this concept of acupuncture points. Reconnect with your vision, you reconnect with your intention that crystallized for you as you came out of the presencing. And that is something you always go back to as some kind of compass for yourself. But then you map your system and you're trying to look at where is it that I want to start? What are the acupuncture points in that context, in that system that I'm operating in? Points of intervention where you feel like if I go there, it actually has an influence of wider than just at that point and in the deeper layers of the system. And especially when your system is large and complex, keep holding on to that idea and that suggestion to start small. A beautiful example I experienced a couple of years ago was someone who had this vision that she wanted to bring art into education. It came from a very deep longing of her intention to do so. And then the pitfall is to want to jump to systems change and almost waiting for the Minister of Education to change the portfolio in all the schools. While her prototype in the end became to just go to one school and start bringing art into the classes of two different groups of children and learn from that and let it grow and expand from there, and let the other teachers become curious, let the children and the parents become curious and give feedback, and to start a process of growth. Another thing to think about as well, if you work in very complex systems, is that if you are addressing a particular challenge, sometimes there where you want to intervene or start bringing around change is not particular in that point. It could be that it's in another area of the system, working as an acupuncture point, and that the change spreads through the deeper layers and through the relationships. Because in the end, it's the quality of the relationships within a certain system that will carry the change forward. So when you are about to define your prototype, it helps to start sensing again a little bit. Go out into the world. What's already happening within that dream that you have? Where are already some examples of what that looks like? Who are the people, the places that you think you can surround yourself with as you start on developing the prototype further, so that you can go and move into action? There are some templates available, the prototyping canvas, that just ask you a couple of questions that help you to clarify who are those people? Who are the places? What could be the timeline? And so The moment you feel I'm ready, I have a definition of the prototype and a description. Those canvases can really help you. One thing in prototyping that becomes a compass for you along the way is, on the one hand, your vision, your intention that crystallized for you. It's something that is deeply in you and that you can always go back to and give it color, give it a gesture, give it words. And wherever you are on the journey, when it goes well, when it's difficult, go back to that intention. And the other thing, the other side of the compass is the change, where you want to bring change, the system you're operating in and that you obviously love and care for. Reconnect with that care and use those two as a compass as you are proceeding and bringing your prototype and your experiment into the world. Sense into the intention and the vision that you had, and then start with conversations to find your allies, to find the people that you want to bring with you as you are prototyping, as you are bringing your prototype to life and into the world. And those might allies that you know already. There might be people you don't know, and there might be the unlikely allies, people you would have never assumed that would go on that journey with you. But it's good to look at, who are my people? Who are the places? Where are the places where I want to go and connect to and bring along with me? And then start making it more and more concrete with them, with a description and a kind of time span that you have in mind. But as quickly as you can, start experimenting and generating feedback. Make sure that you have those moments where you sit down, you look at what happened, what is emerging, what is the feedback you're getting, what is the wisdom that comes from that. When we say feedback, when we speak about feedback with your prototype, it's not only listen to the stakeholders directly involved or listening to the people who are doing it with you. It's even wider than that. Try to connect with the people that you are in service of. And even listen to the universe in the sense of notice the synchronicities that are coming, because there are little invitations, little confirmations, little acknowledgements, and also opening doors for opportunities for adaptations and change. Take things into account. They're little messages. The spirit of prototyping for me is one of experimentation and letting unfold. So what you have, your compass, is your intention, your vision, your calling. It might be a shared calling with other people and other allies, but that's your compass. And from that moment, it's as if you are an artist that holds on to that vision, and you're standing in front of a canvas and you take 3 strokes and then you stand back and you listen again to that vision and to the feedback that comes. And from there, you continue the creation process, which is different with sometimes how a project or a pilot is set up, where you're trying to think about everything beforehand and you're trying to sketch it out. And when it feels complete and ready, then you put it on the canvas, finished. In prototyping, especially in socially complex environments, it's very important to believe in that spirit of emergence and learning along the way, and using all of that feedback in enriching and expanding the prototype, and then doing the experiment again. Iterate, iterate, iterate.